and feeling very honored to have this opportunity to address you on this topic. The purpose of life. Think of what I'm saying to you just as information and as advice, not a lecture.
Oh man, shit. Let it hit 'em.
Hello, everybody. I got ready quicker than I thought I would. How are we all doing today? What do you think of the new screen? Oh, you like it? Good. I've added a few things, moved a few things around. I figured this is a bit more interesting than just, while this is cool, this is literally just an, shit, I need to go grab something. Hi, Ospie. Whereas this is just kind of, an actual, like, yeah, sure, there's a trans blahaj. Go height, whatever you prefer. Also, hi everybody, I moved away from angry skull motifs, and now I'm using, like, an actual symbol of trans people. The rose. Yeah. I guess I could just sit here and chill with y'all. I could even turn on my VTuber, but I'm not going to. Don't forget to turn it off. Can someone test the redeems, please? Just make sure. Yes, a transition.
All right, campers.
So what? So get your beans and hop in the VR. Yeah, welcome on in. You'll be rewarded. Thank you for the 100. You'll be rewarded for waiting for it because Verkayak's Nardo Dragon has a whole new outfit for y'all to enjoy. It's something I don't think I could ever pull off in an actual, like, eat space, so. I mean, I could, but I wouldn't want to. Unless I'm like at a con or something, because that's just like not my style day to day. My style day to day, well, is joggers and a hoodie, but is goth day. Wow, I'm not used to being prepared. It feels weird. Yeah, but it's still not, like, something I'd want to wear, just because it's not, like, personally something I just want to wear around. Personal preference. It looks fucking hella, but yeah. Alright, guess I should actually, like, turn on the fucking headset and all that fuck shit. Alright. And the subtitles. I knew I forgot something, but it's something that's literally just... Okay.
Let it hit 'em.
Are the captions working? Test, test. Yes, they are. Wonderful. What are we gonna listen to next? Oh my god. That never happens when I transition from one playlist to another, and it just starts the same song over again, but in a different playlist. That was just a little alarming. But yes, that is like my new personal like emblem, because I'm a symbology gremlin. So yeah, we'll be seeing that a lot. Basically anything related to me. How's everybody's Monday going, by the way, as I turn on my heckin' headset? Check. Will it clean enough? What's a black triangle? Dimmy. I'm Dimmy. I'm Dimmy pansexual. Your sleep is all kinds of books. That's a mood. Epic, why are you open? Yay, why are you open? Well, that's fucking wonderful to hear. I'm glad to hear that. Alright, scene set up. I'm gonna start in a world that isn't my home world, maybe. Here's something no one will tell you about the fucking volume in a VR headset, at least in my experience. It's always louder for no reason. By like a lot. On. Also, everybody, I have just realized that I have two major JRPGs in my stream sched now. I have, of course, Kingdom Hearts and that entire fucking series. And then I also have Dragon Quest XI, which I have played before on stream. I just lost my ownership of it because we don't do the Game Pass thing anymore. But I own it again, so fuck yeah. Alright. Into the virtual realm we go! Engage goobishness. But the body must feed? Okay. Enjoy your, no, not consumption. Enjoy eating. Enjoy food. There we go. There we go. So, hi, Mimi. Yeah, don't enjoy consumption. I don't think you can enjoy that. The one bad thing about, well, there's many bad things about being a glasses wearer and having long eyelashes, but it also goes straight to VR. So after a certain point in VR, you can't see shit because everything's so smudged. Oh, everything's running good. Oh boy, would you? Oh boy, would you? Switch to the new Shadow Dragon. Oh no, she's sexy. Oh no. Like actually, she's sexy. Why is her tongue blue? What have you been eating, Nardo Bear? Okay, maybe I would want to rock this. Now that I'm seeing it in full body, I'm like, oh, hello. 1 second, I'm actually going to find a different world. is Bucket Storm? Well, we're gonna check it out and see. Wait, no. Friends. Okay. And nothing can go wrong. Murphy's Law can get the hell out of here. Okay, this music is gonna put me to sleep. Too ambient. It's too actually music I just listen to while working. Not fair. Everybody knows it's not. You listen to fucking speedcore. Ooh, this shit. Ooh, I see an axolotl. Hang on, let me set up a camera. Oh, tubes. This is like a what? Okay, Ver, turn on the fucking thing. Give me a second, chat.
Oh, you're just gonna get the heckin' butt do right off the bat. Studio mod! Game!
Hi, everybody. My new outfit. What do you think? It won't be our chest. Nice. Thank you. We get a little salacious as a treat. Yeah, as usual. Standard VR chat rules apply. Little stricter than it is on Friday, just because it's not Friday. But yeah, if I know you're not going to say some heinous shit, you can feel free to join me. Is this using the wrong microphone? Yes, it is. Okay, I thought so. There we go. How we doing, everybody? How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? I think I'm gonna find a different world because this one is very small. You know what? Let's go to the one everybody goes to hang out. You think? Hey. Well, I know what you think because you saw it earlier, Osby. All right. Friends. Going. What's on the jacket breast? Same emblem. One moment. I'll bring it in closer. Turn post-processing on. Ah! Ah! Chat, you're in the way. Boom. There we go. Yeah. The rose is actually a trans, like a symbol of trans people. It used to be because it was a symbol of mourning, but it's kind of moved away from that a little bit to where it's just a way to signify that you're trans. But yeah. Flamberger, Zweihander, and then a mall for reasons. Oh wow, this place is kind of bare when the thing isn't playing, but oh well. Yeah, feel free to join. Feel free to hang out. Okay, I'm gonna have to redo my playlist because this is all like concentration music. That's not. This place is cozy. It is like the default hangout world. It's Sovereign's chill home. Who's online right now? Not a ton of people. So chat, you know what? One thing I've just realized about myself recently. I don't know how to separate the feeling of excitement and anxiety. Because I thought I was anxious all day, and then I was like, wait, I'm just excited for streaming today. And I was like, oh, I need to work on that. Let me switch to the resu. Oh, I got a new idiot, by the way. Got a backpack and everything. And extremely useful rave goggles for something that has a visor for a face, you know? Oh wow, my lenses are already smudged because of my eyelashes. And then, before we go to the resu, I also, oh! I'm in the corner. Hi, get over here. I also updated this goober. Hi, it's Koru. So glad I can use this goober again. Also because I have a lot of art of Koharu with Sir. For obvious reasons. Yeah, let's get into my main avatar. Oh. The hoodie that is technically actually more against toss than not wearing any clothes. Big Dodger Man! Welcome on in. Have you seen the Alpha Gens? Yes, I have. I was gonna buy one, but then I didn't. But yeah, on the hoodie, if you look... Hang on.
You like kissing green, don't you?
Thank you so much, hon. I appreciate it. Wow, my music is putting me to sleep tonight. I don't know why. Of course I did. It's my personal motif, like my personal emblem. Of course, I added it as soon as I finished making it. Also, if you've noticed, I haven't been using face tracking lately. That's because, for some fucking reason, I've tested it with both mine and Sir's headsets. The face tracker just doesn't get detected through USB on the headset only. If I plug it directly into the computer, it's fine. I don't know. How is the Vare? Vare is doing very well. Very well. Yeah. You know what? It's an evening. I can continue to use the and there's no particular reason I want to keep using this. It's definitely not the it's definitely not the hot pants. I don't know what you're talking about. I also just really like the Naruto. Naruto is one of my mains. Wait, that's right. They added auto level. Hang on. Behavior. Auto level. There you go. Ah. Hello, sir. How are you doing? Oh, right, Skyco, you just got here. Hang on. This is, No, I'm just not gonna continue that statement. I like the non-jovial. So, I love that this asset is called Night Out Attire, and then you get it, and then everything is called the bitch outfit in it, which, I mean, fits me and Bear. Oh my god, I get to just...
Alright, campers, show beans.
You're right, I forgot. I'm sorry. Auto level. Brought this upon yourself. Ooh, my hips be wiggly. Ah! Oh! Oh, you get the beans through the stockings. Oh. Yeah. Oh, I know why I'm wiggly. 1 second. There we go. Now I'm smooth. There we go. Whoop. How y'all doing? Beans acquired. Yes. I need to get back in the muscle memory of turning on auto level because it's, I've noticed in all of my VR chat VODs, y'all have been crooked. I apologize. You know what? Let's see how many outfits I actually have for this idiot. Let's see. I do not know why her tongue is blue in this one. So we have the night out. We have casual wear, which is just how I typically dress every day. Hang on. Let's do a little mini Bear is bad at not spending money fashion show. There we go. Give us the give me a minute. Give me a minute. Giving us the wedding ring. And then ooh, I forgot. Y'all haven't seen this one, I don't think. Or you might have. Oh, that's right. She got a big ol' butt. Okay. She got a big ol' butt. And no, that's not the armature. I fucked up. Okay. This one. And then the quote-unquote canon outfit. Only because she's the fucking leader of a combat faction and she has piercings all over. I mean, why wouldn't you? And then we have listen. This is a free fucking outfit, by the way. Alright. Well, it was good being able to chit chat with you a little bit, Osby. Have a good night, hon. Ah! Oh, my tracking is going all weird. Probably because it's still daytime. And then we got this special brand idiot. And then we got this idiot, which I can't really use on stream because I constantly upskirt myself with it. And then we got the goth. Well, goth. More like Halloween chic, but eh. I would wear this so quickly if I could get my hands on one. Yeah! Oh, and then... That's it for Nardo Dragon Bear. I even made a medium spec of the night out one so that like it doesn't make people's things cry as much, but yeah. I really like this outfit. Hello, Technivores. Welcome on in. You might have to make that? Like the Gothic outfit IRL? That'd be fucking hella. Like, oh my god. How you doing, hon? Welcome on in. Oh, that's fucking sick. I have a passing interest in like making my own clothes and stuff just because it's really neat to me. Just anything like that. I love makery stuff, especially stuff that like is cloth for suit making, all that kind of stuff. Also because I'm 6'3". Fucking sick.
The only difference is that your own mind makes you think that it's worse than what it really is.
Ooh, that's cool. That's real cool. And it's not going to show me who followed. Once. Thank you so much, Technivore, for the follow. Thank you so much, hon. One thing I really want to get into is starting to make Velcro patches because I have a patch jacket and I have this right here and no way to really make it. Yeah, Liv is laggy at best a lot of the time. Yeah. I mean, I've literally looked into it and it's like you either get a single demo patch or you have to pay for a bulk order, which is prohibitively expensive because bulk order. Ooh, I am in a comfy, sleepy mood, and that is not optimal for a Monday VR chat. Well, I'll give myself a pass because I've been up since 2 a.m. with like a couple hour naps between. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to look into making my own merch anytime soon. Long day? Yeah, we have 2 cats. I don't think I need to say anything more. Oh. Back to the main. Aww. Our level is really useful. Forgot what I was gonna say. Aww. Yeah, we are on a second floor apartment, so if a cat wandered in, that'd be 1.5 feet. Oh. Okay, yeah. Is there any like seasonal stuff going? Oh look! Look who it is! Look who it is! Hang on. It's value. They make good shit. They make good shit. So 1 second. They make real good shit. So the shader I actually, well, also the FBX for the glasses. The shader on these right here is from that delightful goober right there. They make real good shit. Cat. Is there anything else over here? I like actually check the adverts on these because there's a VR chat dating service. God, Toru is so cute. Okay, yeah. But yeah, Value, I highly recommend their stuff. I don't know what pronouns to go by. I've interacted with them once at a Ferality, and it was literally for about 5 seconds at a Nicorita meetup, because Nicorita makes some of my favorite avatars. But yeah, I'm just gonna default to them. Them. Yeah, they make real good stuff. The goo shader is also really neat. This is like the first time I've actually looked over here in a while. Usually I'm here and there's like a meetup going on that's been going on for a bit, so I'm just like, oh hey everybody, how's it going? Hi everybody, hi everybody, extrovert noises. Yeah. Actually, you know what? Let's see. Nicorita avatars. There's my Koodalin, which will get me dinged. It's not in SFW, but I've gotten dinged for less, so. Wait, where? 0.4. Change into the scooper. Gonna stay? No, it's gonna reset, because of course it is. I don't know why these reset every time. As an introvert, I'm an extrovert, and a pretty big extrovert. Well, probably my best friend, Filthamut, another streamer. Sir, can you give Phil the shout out? It is my best friend, and it was very much a thing of, oh, we both have puppy dog brain. We're friends now. That's how it happened. Filth is good. Filth is a good. Decidedly, way more chaotic than me, but very similar in a lot of ways. And I will leave it at that. But yeah, I'm the extrovert at the meetups. It'll usually be like, oh, there's an introvert over there. I guess I'll just like hang out with them quietly so that, you know, if they want to talk, they can. If they don't want to talk, that's also fine. But yeah, if you haven't noticed, I'm an avatar gremlin. Yeah, you never know what's gonna happen. Welcome to every Verkayat stream where I just show off my avatars until somebody distracts me. Oh, the wagon. Wait, I got this is like my friend Tacoma Lynx. Why am I crying? My friend Tacoma Lynx made my favorite char avatar, and I adore it. It is the Ashura Dragon Cat. Probably saying that wrong, but it's this goober. She reset. Wait, hang on. This is. No, this is the wrong one. This is the wrong one. Okay, it's this one. Yeah. And the thing I was testing is Debbie's. But yeah, this is my character Axia. She's actually like my in-game main of Necro. I play the one that came out with EOD, the one where you get a fucking gun and you conda yourself to do a damage. Yeah. Yeah. I like Char. Char and neat. Also. But yeah, chat, I'm kind of realizing that The sked for a while, especially once August 22nd hits, is going to be real MMO and JRPG heavy. Because on the 22nd, the new Guild Wars 2 expansion drops. And currently, we have Kingdom Hearts going. We're just going to go through that whole series. And then starting this Wednesday, I'm also adding Dragon Quest XI. So I wanted to start being a JRPG gremlin. I'm getting my wish. All the games, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I finally did a milestone where I finally beat the meme of that I'm never going to play Black Mesa on any of my content because it was literally the first thing I ever said I was going to do in like 2016, and then I never did. The one other one, which is probably just going to remain a meme, is I'm never going to finish a Metro game on stream just because those aren't really good stream games, especially not for me, because they kind of get me in the headspace of just silently sitting there playing a first-person shooter, not really interacting with chat, or I'm interacting with chat so much that they get frustrated that I die, although chat kind of just laughs at me instead of getting frustrated, which I appreciate. We might play Alex on stream, though, Half-Life Alex, because VR Pew Pew fun. Not the biggest into it since I've kind of been on HRT for like 8 months. My interest in firearms and all that has kind of waned just a little bit, but that's more me figuring out my headspace and all that. God, Koharu is cute. Sorry. I really like this OC. I recently was able to use her again. Ooh. Also, I'm admiring my own texture work. Like a... I didn't make the glasses. And Rot Fox music. Rot is a good friend. So chat, I will admit that, what time is it? Yeah. I might want to switch over and all the stems and I'm here for it. Yeah. I might want to switch over to State of Decay. I'm kind of not super feeling VR chat right now. Just because I'm in a very comfy, like... I'll put it this way. I'm aware I am standing alone in a room, talking at a computer and not playing a game. Well, I'm playing VR chat, but yeah. I might, depending on it, since Wednesday is kind of become Dragon Quest instead of Wing It, Monday might become Wing It. Because right now, I've had a lot of, like, headaches and, like, eye issues and, like... I'm just trying to consistently actually stick to my schedule, which I've been better about just in general, because I used to, like, be like, hey, I'm not going to say anything and disappear for 6 months because something really bad happened. Instead, it's just like, hey, everybody, I can't stream today. And then I don't stream for that day and then stream the next day. So I'm getting better. Which is good. But yeah. No. I'll give it another 30 minutes or so. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna ask the question every streamer hates asking. Are you entertained, chat? Because if you're having a good time, I can just keep yammering at you. Until someone gets on. Oh, Koharu's growing on me again. Definitely why she's featured in the branding as well. You're loving just vibing? Okay. Yeah, well, it is also Monday. I gotta realize not every stream can have the energy of a fucking Friday stream. What I am going to do is sit down and grab my yoga ball, because what I am trying to do is increase the length of my streams, because I haven't been happy with how long they are lately. You like hearing? Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you. Hang on, I'm going to grab my yoga ball. And then immediately almost fall off of it. Cables, get over here. Oh. Oh yeah, was this all cloistered up in a fucking corner? Over there. Oh, well. Okay, where are you, Chat? Hello? Hello? Oh, God. There you are. Hi. Hi, how you doing? How you doing? Ba-da-da-da-da. I am going to switch back to the Rex, though, because not the Rex. The Rezu. This is not made by Rezio, and that's the only reason I use it. I think it's also my playlist is just putting me in a sleepy mood. So chat, what are your plans for the week? What you all got going on? You know what I got going on? This. Art fight? Oh yeah, that's a thing. Oh, I forgot that was I kind of forgot that was a thing, because my thing is like avatar texturing. That's my thing, which isn't really an art fight thing, so it's never really been in my wheelhouse to even look into. I have lots of artist friends though that I should have known, but Way Monday and Tuesday. Oh, egg. Thank you, Ivy Shadow 2 for the egg. How you doing, hon? I am gonna find a different world. This world reminds me of falling asleep at meetups. Thank you so much for the hydrate. Oh, hi. That's my torso. How you doing? Oh, wow. Thank you for the hydrate.
Get up and stretch, you gremlin.
I am stretching. There we go. Oh. There we go. What about Yoga Mogo? Oh, there it is. Okay. Resuming my search for a world. Attic in the rain. That'll put me. What is the lighthouse? Wait. Like, oh, wait. There, you know what it is? You know what a lighthouse is, you goober. Come on, hun. Na 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 na. Sovereign's Cozy Club. Wow, I just have a lot of Sleep World saved. Ooh, what is this? Well, we're checking it out. Whatever it is. One thing I do need to do to the Rezu is I use a Next controller, so I need to rip out the shocked emote and put it on, like, I don't know, something else, because I rest with my hands open. Oh wait, I might not what this world is. Ooh! Oh, this is one of them quote-unquote sleeping worlds, if you catch my drift. Gee, I wonder why this is super popular right now, eh? Lots of sleep. Oh, somebody made an Ocean Gate world. We're not talking about that on stream. If you know me, you know my opinion on it. Ooh, Half-Life world. Begin the world hopping. Pretty, yeah, I'm definitely gonna, like, remember this for cuddling. Oh, it's this map. Oh, it. Well, Chat, are you ready to fucking? Oh, hi. Sorry about that. It's not any faster. Is this literally just the... Wow, 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 wow. This is literally like, you know what, screw it. I made the respawn button for a reason. Fact City, Mountain, Church, Airfield. Oh, this is literally just a ripped Half-Life map. Like, literally, that's all it is. Okay. No, 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 no. I am not flashing you. That's just my boobs. A little boob never hurt anybody, except my back, and when I go down the stairs without a bra on, and things they don't tell you before you like start HRT. It's like, hey, this thing that you literally never thought would ever hurt, it's gonna hurt. You know what? Let's just go to the variety box. There's a bunch of worlds I've ever done. You know what? Let's do organism. Just because. Good luck. Aw, but fun streaming. Aw. I'm wearing one right now. I'm wearing one right now, yeah. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah. Like, trust me, it's summer. My Regular fit is literally just black joggers and a black sports bra because why else? I'm not going outside. Oh, right. This world made me cry, like in a good way. That's a... Oh, right. So if you haven't checked this world out before, do. Wait, what is the other one called? Is this the... Is this is... Oh, God. Into the numb arm zone. Ah! Hang on. I actually, like, think I need the ambience for this. This is... This, Can you see why this made me cry? So, the reason I love this world, yeah, it's a very nice world. This is liminality, which I have a deep connection to because my life has had so many changes in it, and I'm an idiot who loves symbolism. So, I know liminality is like a space of great change in your life and all that stuff. And, yeah. I'm gonna turn the ambience back on. Well, I'm gonna turn the second. Oh wait, no, that literally. Come on. Ah! No, the other way. The most active I ever get is in VR. I will bluntly say that. So yeah. What I am gonna do is just turn that down a little bit. Let me know if the music clashes, but, so I'm gonna kinda do the third-person shooter kinda... Oh god, wow, I am just fucking gamer spreading right now. Oh, that's right, I got a nice back. Fair! Welcome back, Osby. We're doing organism right now. It's organism. Oh, what? It's one of my favorite worlds, and it... Oh, no! Come on. I don't have the hots for my own sauna. What are you talking about? So this is, organism. It is one of my favorite worlds. Just in general. It's very important to me. Basically, every time I come to one of these worlds... you will learn something very deep about me. Because it triggers the writer brain a little bit. Hang on. Wait, is this the... What is the other one of these called? Or is it just organism? I'm gonna look, because I like the other one better. Worlds... Is it? I think so? This world makes your brain tingle? Same. Is it, Olympia? Boosty link added. I'm gonna look at my... But basically, this world makes me get quiet and thoughtful, and that's not a bad thing. It's bounds. We're gonna be here a while. Oh, there's a fighter jet world, so. At this world? Okay. Enjoy your work, Elarcon. Thank you so much for the follow, and thank you for tagging along. No. Is it just organism? Wait, no, it is epilogue. 1 second. I'll know in a minute. Hang on. Worlds. This will be a neat little adventure. Epilogue, chapter 1. Almost certainly not. That's why I'm having y'all tag along with me. Because I'm gonna, Osby, as soon as you get a Quest compat or a PC compat headset and all that, I'm taking you to so many places. I'm gonna show you so much stuff. It's gonna be fucking hella. Yes, this is it. Okay. You will probably recognize some scenes where I've taken pictures, because we're just gonna explore. Why not? It's fucking Monday evening. Why not? Yes, it's this world. It's this world. Okay. Path, you will find a 3-digit code, enter it here, and you will gain access to checkpoint teleport. So, this is the world that made me cry. Just because, like, I know it's not supposed to really mean anything, but, like, I'll put it this way. It is a world that I want to hang out with Floey in. It does different things to different people. Yeah. It's just like I have a writer's brain because I am a writer. I just haven't written anything in a while. So the world, I cook up a lot of stuff in my head, y'all. Makes you feel things? Yeah. And it's like, it's surreal as fuck. It's weird. Which, it's art. It's an art world, which I love because those are definitely, certainly, entirely a thing in VR chat. And just in general, you can make an entire world out of this shit. I mean, that is the definition of a world, yes. I think I was at episode. Do I like board games? I mean, I'm making a TTRPG out of my lore universe, so yes. Hang on, you get the wide angle of this. You get to see me spread. Don't. Here. What kind of board games? Are we talking like TTRPG stuff, or... You'd just be able to walk. Dixit? Okay. Bubbles. Why is the thing? Is that on the screen? No, it's not. Weird. Do y'all see a bar on the right of like snow texture? Because if you don't, ignore me. But if you do, let me know. Yeah, because there's the... So, I've found the new goal for the stream, I guess? Well, goal. There's no goal, it's art. The goal is the experience. I have to remember that you're considerably further behind. Considering this yeah, Osby, I'm there. I'm gonna take you here someday. Yeah, it's up. Osby, I'll send you the. Well, I don't have them. I don't have. I'll send you the pictures that I have saved of this world. Actually, oh, there's a. I want to take so many of my friends. It doesn't clear my head, but it isn't unpleasant. And if you know me, you know that that's big. This world makes me think, and it gives me a place to process stuff. If I'm having a bad day, I come here. Well, I should. Oh. Okay, this is the world. I don't distract myself. It just gives me a medium to process through. There's a specific point I want to get to where I started getting emotional. And I know I'm distracted right now because I'm talking to chat, but like, stuff like this. Tom and Jerry. Game over there. Infinite fucking hooks. Vanity. Yeah, I will say, I know this is like, so, Ospi, I'm gonna bring you here, hon. VR chat is how I cope with my dysphoria. Just bluntly, it's how I do it. I would say at this point, what I did, and I still do, making you think about your dysphoria. Yeah, it's always there for me. Ugh. I can ignore it better at a certain point. Actually ignore it for once in my life for a bit, which is big. Proper scale. Yeah, I didn't know what dysphoria was either, and I don't have the avatar anymore, but you know Mashka? You know Mashka, my OC? That is, well, a less than safe for work version of that avatar. I just, on a whim, stood in front of a mirror, and I was literally like, oh god fucking damn. Oh, it was a confusing night, but a great, wonderful one. It was confusing until it made everything not confusing anymore. That right there. And the music. Music's gone. I know this isn't a horror world because I've been through it. But the total silence? You will learn that I don't do well with silence at all. Oh, and it's the scene from the video game. Yeah. I don't do well with silence at all. I don't do well with being left alone with my own thoughts because they are overwhelming and there's a lot of them. It wasn't overwhelming back there. Okay. I remember what avatar I was in at this point, and I just didn't change out. So, for this world, Han, we're similar. I'm not a mess at the moment like I was back then. Just a complete, utter, Hun, how are you even functioning level of mess. But, I was Astis Ricky through this part. Where is it? I was still the Coffee Durg of the original. I was Koharu, but Koharu's original name. I was a fucking mess and just refused to think about how much of a mess I was at the time. And then I snapped. Fucking snapped. And disappeared for a couple weeks. And yeah. So I was this avatar. Which I don't think any of you actually like seen on stream up close. There's a different context in the world to avatars like these now, though, so, Also, hi chat, you're watching me get quiet and sentimental. I think some of you have literally never seen me like this before. That should be good. Over there. And you're not locked in place. God heckin' damn it. Oh yeah, it's a change, but like, yeah, it's not a bad. It's not a bad one for sure. It would have been a bad one back then because I was like having time to think. And that was probably one of the worst things that could happen. Given time to process all the world events going on. That's good. Let's chug-a-luggin'. Your heart is doing some weird shit. How do you think I feel? Going through this in a... Right. This here. This. Oh, what is my head doing? Oh. This area. We'll go through it in a second. There's a little fun, silly part in a bit, though. Don't worry. It's not all... Well, I mean, life is full of silly shit. Just learn that you gotta very much treasure the silly events that happen. Oh, I haven't been up. Oh, how you doing, Big Moth? Oh, I have been through here. So that's the camp over there. Church. We're not going to go through there because that causes audio issue. That is quite a view. Yeah, this person knows what they were doing. I might film some. What's that? This one causes tinnitus issues to the yeah. Oh no, we're moving out of here. We're moving out of here. My VR does not like that. Okay. So the first time I went to this world, this is the second time. Yeah, Teddy Bear Rave. I was fucking around with a bunch of friends, which is probably why I made it so far and didn't like break down crying. To be clear, I didn't break down for bad reasons. I had just recently started HRT. And it was hitting. It was hitting. I was dealing with the, oh, I know, I can cry now. I'm going to do it so much. Also, the camera's right there, so when I do that, I'm looking at y'all. This makes me want to just sit outside and have the conversations I used to have with a lot of people. Just learn about each other, get comfy with each other. Where that usually leads when you get real comfy with somebody late at night. My time's up for work. All there is to see over here. Oh, my voice is getting crispy. Yeah, this makes me just want to sit outside on a summer night, talk with my friends. Even necessarily need to be out about serious shit, just talk with friends. Like I'm doing. Okay, good. It works. I stepped on my microphone! Hi! This is neat. Imagine if they could just do like super large scale art exhibits like this. Like at a lot next to a museum or something. That's places have done that, Verkayet. Blah. Oh, we do it. Blah blah. That kind of stuff just like screams museum, like kids exhibit kind of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, I should check that out. I have that. I should check. This part. Oh, we're getting close to the important part to me. Oh, hi. Hi there. You're getting... Oh my god, it's a valve! Hello, Raptor, how are you doing, hon? What were you? Wait. Nope. Half-Life 3 confirmed? I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Yeah. There's the static and the... Oh, and here we are. Set. Oh, alright, chat. Gonna have you for a second. I'm gonna reset up a shot. This is one of my favorite shots I've ever taken in VR. That was a wicker beast. Wait, what? Fucking... What do you mean you can't rotate it anymore? Hang on. Yeah, it's not working anymore. Uh-oh. Well, you know what? I'm gonna grab your ass. No, I'm not. If it was a long shot like this, why isn't the angling working? Yeah, it's just not working. So basically, you're gonna watch Verkayet set up a fucking shot. Oh, it's because fucking auto levels are on. That's why I'm just a dink. Never mind. Ah! We're here. They're out. Oh, never mind. Hello, King Cinder. How are you doing? But yeah, it was like, this is one of the favorite shots I've ever taken in VR. Yep.
Oh no!
Oh no! No, I didn't lock you in place! So welcome to going through a museum with Vare. She actually, you know, stops and like reads the shit on the exhibits because it's neat and you should learn stuff and always be learning because knowledge is fucking hella, yo. Take it from a green idiot. And now we're getting into the religious iconography. Learning hurts your brain? That's just the muscle growing. Like, oh my god, if I was ever gonna set foot in Florida ever again, I'd take Osby to the fucking Pensacola NAS music. Fucking home of the fucking Blue Angels. Our Red Arrows, basically. Take Osby to a fucking airship. Yeah, I used to go to the museum on the base that they were from. Based in Pensacola, NAS. I used to go to the National Air and Space Museum. And I've eaten in their canteen because I used to be in JROTC. Fucking hilarious if you know me. I was saying if I was ever going to set foot in Florida ever again, I'd take you there. And then I'd take you to the air shows they do there. Trying to claw your way out of Cali? Hmm? We're moving to New Hampshire relatively soon. Well, February, probably. Well, yeah, our lease runs out in February, so we'll be moved by then. So later in the year, there will be like a Dono subathon kind of thing going on so that I can just have a little bit extra oomph to get us there. I mean, you could see angels, but not the blue angels. You just gotta, you know, get near one of these. Oh my. Not SOS. Oh. Ah, okay. Hospital. 8 hospitals. Used to be in them a lot. Not because I used to get sick a lot, but my dad has always a stressful time. Like the radiation. Radiation. Delicious. Delicious. Yum, 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 yum. Why is America yet? You can feel your flesh melting? And just put on some more sunscreen. There's the laugh. Oh God. What is this? I didn't look at these before. I grab you. I'm grabbing you. Hi. Who is this? A radiation suit? Osby, I love that you made that reference. Not bad, not great. It's not great, not terrible, right? That's the quote. Oh, fucking... Linen facility? Eh. I mean, it is definitely Eastern European and definitely Eastern Bloc, but yeah. Definitely of that era, that's for sure. How you doing, Singularity? Welcome on in. I wouldn't. Not because of like a nuclear fear or anything. I just... Yeah, but not all Russian stuff is like Soviet or Leninist or anything like that. I mean, not all Cyrillic is even Russian. I just have no reason to be in the exclusion zone, and I feel like I'd be in the now we're where I made myself cry. First time I was here. Cities of glass. Giant crow with the top hat? I don't think I mean, I didn't go to Anthrocon, so I need my fill of giant crows with top hats. Oh, that one! Oh, it's so nice being able to go through this world with a... Ooh, that is a very Eastern European motif. I said that I wouldn't want to go simply just because I feel I have no reason to be there, and I just weirdly feel like I'm putting other people in potential unnecessary risk by being a tourist to a place I have no business being in. Okay, chat, yeah, VR chat time is going to end relatively soon because my headset's hurting my face. Wait, is that a perspective shift? Hang on. No, they're just small. Chat. We're not going to finish this world today. We are going to stream for quite a bit longer, though. We're just going to switch to State of Decay, too. Yeah, Osby. Okay, yeah. I am getting overwarm. So, oh. Yeah, I went through that hallway over there, had to come back and tell all my friends, hi! Hi, I made myself cry. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna go on BRB, hop out of VR chat, have some water, all that. Hey, chat. Would you enjoy me just like on Mondays going through art worlds like this with y'all? Would you like me to make that a thing? Think on that. I'm gonna hop out because it's very warm in here. Right, I'll see you in a little bit. Absolutely. Wonderful. Oh, I can't quit out of VR. All right, everybody. One moment. Get ready for a rapid tonal shift. So chat, do you remember last time the stream just randomly completely died for no reason? And I mentioned that before it happened, my stream window went 4x3? Yeah. Yeah, uh-oh. Hi, Zaya. How you doing, hun? It's still working, so... State of Decay 2. Yep. Just chillaxing. Same. We just went through that, epilogue world. Well, most of it, and then I got Tywood. But yeah, we're just gonna switch to State of Decay 2, because that's kind of my brain off game lately. Oh, no, 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 no. Let me just, yeah, let me just turn on some lights. I'm not gonna turn on my arms for the VTuber.
To have this opportunity to address you on this topic. The purpose of life.
The porpoise of...
I'm saying to you just as information and as advice, not a lecture.
God, I love the Rezu so much. I love this low goober. Ah! Oh, no. I can't see where anything is. Hey, chat. I'm gonna end stream, close OBS, and restart it, and then be right back, okay? I'll see you in honestly, a few seconds, okay? See you in a sec.